Hello everybody and welcome back to the Let's Code series, and in today's live of the Let's Code series we're building a quote generator. That is a quotes by people generator. When we are building this using React and Tailwind CSS, well, we'll be using Vite plus React for building this and Tailwind CSS. And by the end of this live or a series of lives, because this is a medium to large scale, not too much large scale, this does not have any backend integrated nor any APIs. It is all hard coded. So by the end of this series, so either 2 or 3 lives later, you'll have something like this. Now it is not really visible right now because the some of the coloring is not right, and we'll correct this on later. But it is essentially this. It's really visible and it looks nice in dark mode. Now it's basically a quote generator where we can store our quotes inside of a storing system or an array, and then we can see how many we have viewed and how many we have favorited. So each time we clicked on new code, it randomly generates a new code that we have stored somewhere in our code, and it also gives the author of the author of the quote, and we can even favorite our quotes, and we can see our favorite quotes inside our favorite section, and we can also see our history, and we can also use the favorite feature from here, and we can set the font size, and we can also copy the code. I had just written this for testing, so don't mind this. And we can copy the code, we can paste the code, and we can even tweet the code that is tweeted on X. I don't have an X account right now on my device, so it will not do anything, but if you have an X account, it will be ready to tweet it out. So we'll be building this. Now we'll keep this open just in case, and I'll close this. And okay, that was the file that I showed you using this. Now we'll create a fresh folder called, let's say, Let's Code. We'll open this and then open this inside command prompt, so cmd, right? And after that we will be using VS Code for this, so code dot. So even inside VS Code, I hope you guys have this extension installed, which is Tailwind IntelliSense. I'm presuming, yeah, Tailwind IntelliSense. So this will help in styling with Tailwind. As for our files, we'll just go on and click on terminal, then create a new terminal, and first of all we'll create a React plus Vite React project. So first of all we'll run the command npm. So npm means node package manager. Now if you don't have node.js installed on your device, you can just head over to nodejs.org and you can install a node.js on your device, and that comes included with the node package manager. So we'll run the command npm create Vite at latest, and then run this. Now after running it, it'll prompt you to enter the project name. So we'll create a name called quote generator, right? Generator, and hit enter. Now it'll tell us to select a framework. We'll be using React, so I'll select React, and then we'll be just using plain JavaScript, so I'll select JavaScript. Now it'll tell us to go inside our newly created project, that is this project. This is our boilerplate or our default code for our React plus Vite project. So cd quote generator. So we'll go inside quote generator, and then we'll run a command called npm install. Okay, so while this is installing, I'll tell you guys something. In many of your devices, or in many of the people who are viewing this in their devices, this command might not work initially due to lack of some permissions. But you don't have to worry. There's a quick fix available, a temporary and a permanent fix available for this. I'll not explain it right now since I'm not running into that problem. But if you run into that problem, you can comment it down in the comments, and we'll drop a quick fix for you guys. So we are done running npm install, and after that we have to run npm run dev to run our local server. So if we control click on this, our local server will open on Vite plus React. So before making any changes to this has a click counter which uses use state. We'll be discussing about that later. Now before we do any of that, we will install Tailwind CSS as well. So in order to install Tailwind CSS, first of all we'll get out of this server, or by clicking Ctrl plus C, and now we will run npm install um, Tailwind CSS, and then after space at Tailwind CSS slash Vite. I'm sorry, Vite. Now after running that, it'll run for some while and install Tailwind CSS on our device. But after that, we're not done. We have to make changes in our feed.config.js file, and we have to add import Tailwind CSS from at Tailwind CSS slash Vite. So it has completed this for us, and in our plugins we have to put Tailwind CSS set of parentheses and then comma. So after doing that, inside our source folder and inside our index.css file, at the top, I'll not remove this for now. I'll not remove any of the CSS for now. I'll just type out at import, and then inside our single quotes, or let's say double quotes, Tailwind CSS. And after that, we are all set for using Tailwind. Now, just to check if Tailwind is working or not, first we will, okay, if I do refresh, this might stop since we closed the server. Yep. Now, before we do that, I'll run npm run dev once again to run our server, right? Now, I'll click on control.click, and then it'll open that project once again. So our project has been changed. Now, just to make sure that our CSS or Tailwind CSS is running, I'll put on style or Tailwind style. So first of all, we'll go on to this Vite plus React heading, and then we'll give this a class name, and then inside quotes we'll put bg okay, let's say amber 700, right? And I've turned on autosave, so it'll save changes itself, and we have installed Tailwind successfully. Now we can get on with creating components and coding all of this component by component. So I'll close this since our local host is running another project, that is our current project. So first of all, we'll delete all of this code inside app.jsx. Since our main.jsx is importing app, we'll delete all of the app, and we'll delete all of the styling for index.css except for import Tailwind CSS. Okay. Now inside our assets, we'll create not inside our assets, we'll create a new folder inside our source file. Inside our source file, we'll create a new folder called components, right? So components, and inside our components we'll create first of all a new file called quote display.jsx. We'll actually create many files. I'll just create the files for now. So quote display.jsx, and then quote stats.jsx to display our stats, and then quote tabs.jsx, quote tabs.jsx, and then theme controls.jsx. So that will be for our light theme and dark theme. So theme controls.jsx. Okay, and then we'll create another folder inside our source, and this will be named pages, and inside this we'll create a new file called our project's name, code generator.jsx. So first of all, we'll put on some code inside our code generator. First of all, we'll import some things from React, that is use state and use effect, two of the React hooks that we'll be using. So first of all, import React, and then after that, inside our curly braces, use state, and I'm sorry, I typed out and use effect from React. Okay, and after that, we'll import refresh CW, Twitter, for the Twitter icon, and these are for icons, by the way, from Lucid React. If you don't have Lucid React installed on your device, you can just run an npm command to install Lucid React as well. So if you run the command, it will probably prompt you. So I'll be importing a check mark, a heart, a clock for our history, clock, and then a moon, and then sun for our light and dark themes, and then a quote. And after that, we'll type out from, as I mentioned earlier, Lucid React. Now, after we are done creating the components, we can import all of them. We'll be importing all of them inside our code generator.jsx file that is inside our page. So first of all, import code display from // components. It's inside components / code display, and we'll copy this line 4 times. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll copy this line 4 times. 1, 2, 3. I mean 3 times, so it's 4 lines. And instead of code display, we'll type out code stats, and instead of code display, code stats, and then instead of code display, we'll import code tabs here, and then once again code tabs, and then our theme controls. So theme controls. Yep, so we are done importing all of this. Now after this, we'll create a function which will return our components. First of all, I'll do this with arrow function. So const code generator. I'll put the name of the function as same as the name of our file, that is code generator.jsx. So code generator, and inside our arrow function, it will return these things. Okay. First of all, we'll be using a bunch of use states. So first of all, we'll create current quote use state variable, and then for that, for changing our current quote, we'll be using set current quote as our function. So current quote is our state variable, set current quote is our function, which use state. First of all, its initial value will be null, so current quote will be null. And after that, you know what, let me just copy this line a bunch of times. We'll be needing one for we'll be needing one for our animation. We'll be needing one for copied, favorites, viewed quotes, dark mode, active tab, font size, and quote stats. So first of all, we'll set is animating, our state variable is animating, and we'll type out set is animating. Use state, we'll keep this false since this is a boolean, and then we'll create a state variable called copied, and then set copied. It will follow this pattern all the way down. So null, no, false. And then favorites, this is for adding our favorites. So set favorites. Set favorites, and in our use state, we'll just keep an empty array for now. And after favorites, we'll be using viewed quotes, and this will be for storing our viewed quotes. Set viewed, sorry for my spelling and misclicks, VIEWED quotes. quotes, and after that we'll initially be setting it to an empty array. So after that we'll set a state variable for dark mode, for toggling our dark mode. So this will be a boolean, so set dark mode, and its initial value will be false since we have to load the DOM in light mode at first. So active tab, or if you prefer loading dark mode first, you can always set this to true for default. So active tab will be using set active tab. This will be false. No, this will be using something called generator. After that we'll be using one for our font size. This will be set font size, and then this will have a value of this is Tailwind styling, so text -2XL. So this will set our default font size, and then our quote stats, and set quote stats. Okay, I'll have to see if any typo. Okay, I don't think there are any typos, but inside our use state we'll be setting a JavaScript object. So total will be setting the first total quotes to 0, favorites to 0, since while loading everything will be 0. So viewed also, it should be 0. Viewed quotes also should be 0. Okay, we are done with our state variables. Now outside this use state, we can start defining our quotes. So first of all, we'll use const quotes. Now, like in our previous YouTube live, I'll not type out each and every quote, but I'll just copy and paste a single quote object. So it'll be an array of quote objects, JavaScript objects. So inside quote objects, it will have an, first of all, ID. We'll be using simple 1 2 3 4 ID. So it will have our quote text. Okay, let's say we want to quote Steve Jobs, right? And let's type out the code. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. I'm sorry, you do. And after our text, we'll be putting the author key, and its value will be, of course, Steve Jobs. This is a quote by Steve Jobs. And then we have also separated our categories for this. So category, this will be work. So after work, our category will be generating some hashtags also. So first, for tags, we'll make another array which will contain the hashtags passion, and then success. Oh, I'm sorry, this should be double quotes, success. And after success, let's say career as well. So this since it's work, career. And this is basically it. This will be our quotes object. And you remember we had 20 quotes in our previous example. This is down right now, so I can't show you that. But we had 20 quotes, and we'll be iterating all of those quotes. So first, okay, let's create 2 quotes for now, since at least something has to change. Okay, first of all, I'll copy this and paste. Okay, our ID will of course be 2, and our text, let's quote another thing by Steve Jobs. Let's say, okay, let's say innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. Okay, pretty nice quote by Steve Jobs. This is about leadership, so leadership, right? And let's say this is innovation, leadership, and then business. These will be our hashtags, by the way. So I'll just copy and paste this a bunch of times, and I'll have to change the ID since they can't have duplicate IDs. And this is a really important concept in React and React Native. Your objects, when you are putting a bunch of objects inside an array to iterate through, you have to have an ID so that React can distinguish between components. I think I copied them, right? Okay, Control C, and then Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V. Okay, a bunch of, oh my god. So 1 2, this will be 3, this will be 4, oh 4, this will be 5, 6, 7, 8, oh 8, 9, 10. Okay, 10 quotes for now, and that's plenty of quotes to iterate through. And after defining our number of quotes, we'll be first of all semicolon, and we'll be creating a function first of all. So the function will be to get a random quote. So get random quote, and this function will be yet another arrow function to simplify things, and it will return it'll be, okay, first of all we'll use the const random index. We'll be creating a random index. Okay, random index equals math dot floor, and this will be for selecting base value. If it's 3.13, it will just basically output the 3, that's all. So math.random will use math.random, and then inside our math.random will multiply it by the length of the array. So it can generate any range. Okay, so quotes are quotes, what is, okay, quotes array, and it'll iterate through quotes dot length. So after generating our random random index, we will first of all return that quote or the quote object. So we'll return quotes. This is an array. Oh, I'm sorry, quotes, and then we'll return that random index. So a random quote object inside our quotes array will be returned. So either this or any random objects. Now for now I've copied all this, but these can all be different quotes. Okay, now okay, after our get random quote function, we'll create another function, and that will be for generating a new quote. So const generate new quote, and this will be an arrow function as well. And inside this we will use some of the state variables that we define up here. Okay, this is a long array, so we'll use first of all set is animating, set copied, and set timeout. Set timeout is not defined here, it is an inbuilt function. So set is animating, we'll set this to true. So while generating a quote, we will be doing some animation. So we have done is animating, we have set is animating to true, and this is basically for what the use state is useful for. It is for changing the state of a variable. So we'll select set copy to false, because the user will not have copied the quote yet, and we'll generate a set timeout, and inside our set timeout we'll be making an arrow function, and inside that function we will say let new quote, let new quote equals get. We'll be using this. So get random, first of all we'll get a random quote, right? We'll be using get random quote, and this new quote will store a random quote object like this. Okay, so let new quote will store a random quote object, and we'll run a while loop after this. So while our current quote and so mind you, our current quote is the quote that is basically a state variable which will store our current quote, which has to be displayed on our screen. So our current quote, while our current quote and our new quote dot id. So new quote dot id is strictly equal to our current code.id, we will generate a new code. So this is in order to not generate the same code again. So if because math.random works well randomly, it can generate 8 a few times. But if our current code, that is the code that is being displayed, is equal to our new code that is randomly selected, it selects a new random code. So new code equals get random code once again. So after we have selected our random code, we will utilize it. So we'll set our current code. See, first of all, the current code is empty, but we'll set our current code to our new code, right? And then we'll end this. Now, if our new code and our new code dot id is true, we will set the viewed codes viewed codes and then use prev. This is just I forgot the word, arguments, but not arguments. Okay, I forgot the word for this, I'm sorry, but okay, we'll use previous, and for that we'll use our filter. So that is a higher order function. So we'll just use dot 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 and then previous dot filter, and this will be, I keep forgetting the word. What's the word for? It's not arguments, but it is defined when this is the variable that is defined when a function is defined. Okay. Okay. Q and q.id is not equal to new code.id, and then we will slice this 0 and 50. After that, we'll set the set timeout. So after all this is done, we will first of all const code. This is for code generator as well. Okay. After that, we'll set the set timeout for 150 milliseconds, and then above that we will set is animating to false once again. So after that, we'll create a new function called toggle favorite. Now this will be for toggling our favorites. So const toggle favorite, and inside this we'll pass in a quote, and then we'll use the set current quote to that quote, right? And then we will set active tab to generator, and then after that we'll set is animating to true, since we are animating towards the favorites. No, we are toggling favorites, so we'll be animating as well. So set is animating to true. After that, we'll again use set timeout, but this time we'll be using it for disabling our animation. So after that, we'll be using set is animating to false, when we'll be doing that after 150 milliseconds. Oh, I forgot the comma. Now after that, we will create another function to select our favorite code. So const select favorite quote will equal to, we'll again pass in our quote, quote, and then we'll be using set current. Oh no, we'll not be using set current, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, I messed up the quotes. This is actually for our select favorite quote. So first of all, select favorite quote, okay, and we'll be changing this function to toggle favorite, okay, toggle favorite, and this will be the same. And then inside our toggle favorite we'll be using the set favorites, okay, and inside our set favorites we will pass in our previous value, and then we'll be using const is favorite. So this will be our boolean equals to previous dot sum, and f, and then f dot id is strictly equal to quote dot id, okay, and after that we'll be returning is fav, and we'll be basically using the ternary operator, either previous dot filter, this is just for, I don't know the word once again, okay, f dot id double equals quote dot id, or oh, I'm sorry, this should be separate, okay, or our dot previous and then quote. So this is basically our toggle favorite function, and now after that we'll be defining a function called copy to clipboard, so which will implement the copying feature, equals, and then a function. Okay, so after the function, let me check if I'm recording properly. Hello, okay, I am. Okay, for the function copy to clipboard, we will use if our current quote, that is if the value of the current quote is there, we will use navigator, navigator dot clipboard dot write text. So you use this to copy the text to the clipboard, and then our backticks, a set of backticks, oh, not this many, okay, 2 backticks, and then we'll use quotation sign, and then dollar sign, and inside that dollar sign we'll use current quote and the text of the current quote, so current quote dot text. So yeah, that's it, and then minus, oh no, I'm sorry, this should be inside, okay, hyphen, let's see, and then and this should be our author name, so we'll use the dollar sign once again, dynamic current quote dot author. So this is the quote, and hyphen, that's dash the author of the quote. Now after that we'll use a semicolon here, and then inside that below that we'll first use set copied, we'll set the copied to true. That is, it'll know that we have copied a text. And then we'll use set timeout, and inside that step set timeout, we'll use an arrow function so that we can set copied to false after a delay of 2 seconds. So 2000 milliseconds is 2 seconds. And yeah, that is it for our copy to clipboard function. Let's close this. And then we also had the functionality of sharing to Twitter, so we'll use share to no, let's say share on Twitter equals and then we'll again use if current quote. Then inside we'll use a constant called tweet text, and we will use the same format. So I'll just copy this line, Control C, Control V. I have set the copy text. That's right. And then after that a semicolon, and then we'll create a tweet URL. So const tweet URL equals set of backticks once again, and then we'll use a Twitter link. So this will lead to X, but we'll still type out a Twitter link. So https and then //twitter.com /intent/tweet, and for our query we'll send a text equals a $, and then we'll use encode URI component, and this is right here. And inside encode URI component we'll type out tweet text, since this is the tweet text that we have to tweet, right? Now after that we'll use a semicolon to close this, and then we will open a window. So we'll use window dot open, and we'll use tweet URL. We'll open the URL in a new window, and to open it in a new window we'll set this to blank. Okay, now after this we'll use use effect. So use effect, and inside use effect we'll use set quote stats. Okay, so we'll set quote stats, and then total quotes will be the number of quote objects inside our array. So quotes dot length will give us the total number of quotes. And after that, favorites, we'll just have to see favorites, since we have created select favorites already. So we'll just use favorites dot I'm sorry, this should be colon. So favorites dot length and gth length. After that, our viewed quotes, which will be viewed quotes dot length. Okay, that's about it. And after that, we'll exit out of this, so semicolon, and then we will set the use effect to whenever our favorites and view quotes are changed, it will re-render the element, that is, it will set quote stats once again. Okay, as soon as these arrays are updated, it will update our quote stats with the function set quote stats. Okay, so this is the use of use effect. Now after use effect, we will use another use effect, and this one will be for setting our current code. So for that we'll use set current quote, and in that set current quote we will generate no, we'll use the function of get random quote, since our this function will generate a random code and this function will set that random code into our current quote's place. Now as for when to use this, we'll keep it as default. Now we'll use a ternary operator for our theme classes. So first of all, we'll use const theme classes equals if dark mode is enabled. So dark mode, first of all, dark mode question mark, a ternary operator works like this, and if the dark mode is enabled, we'll put this, this is Tailwind styling, so b background gray, and then okay, background gray 900, and then text color will be white. If not, if there is not dark mode, then the background color will keep neutral, so bg neutral, and then 50. Okay, and the text will be neutral as well, so text neutral 800. Now we'll finally return some things. Okay, so first of all we'll create div, so div, and we'll give this a class name of, we'll use a set of backticks. I'm sorry, my backtick button is not working properly, so I have to press it hard. So first of all we'll set the minimum height to the screen and the minimum width to the screen. So will be text, will align text to center, and margin bottom will give a value of 4. Oh, I'm sorry, margin bottom will give a value of 8. Okay, after this we'll create an h1 tag. Finally we'll render some stuff onto our web page. So first of all we'll create an h1 tag, and then we'll give this class name of, first of all we'll set the text to 4XL, and then font to bold, and margin bottom to 4. Okay, margin bottom to 4. Now inside our headline we'll write daily inspiration. Okay, I don't think we have exported this yet though, have we? No, we have not. So let's first of all export if we want to see some changes. So outside our function we'll type out export default what is it, code generator, right? So code generator, oh shit, I'm sorry, code generator. Okay, so this will export our code generator, and inside app.js we have to, okay, turns out we removed everything. So first of all let's create a function called app. What is it? Capital A, so app, and then inside our app function we'll return don't forget the semicolon, and then we'll return our what component was it? So code generator, and we'll close this. Oh, okay, it automatically added this line. So let's see if, okay, our app component is being called. So okay, failed to, oh, turns out I don't have Lucid React installed on my device, so sorry for that. For new terminal we'll do Okay, let me search up the command real quick. What is the command to install Lucid React? Okay, it's npm install Lucid React. So npm install Lucid React. Okay, we have to wait for a while. Okay, let's see our browser now. Any problems in the console? No, right? Okay, let me just do npm run dev once again. Npm run dev. Okay, I think my PC is lagging a bit. Oh wow. Okay, my PC is facing some issues right now. Okay, I think it's fine. Npm run dev. Turns out okay, I should be inside the code generator, right? Okay, code generator, and then okay. Okay, nothing yet. Why not? Export default at code generator. I have provided an export default. Does not provide an export name default. Oh, it should be default export maybe. Default. It is export default. So why isn't this working? Okay, code dot. Okay, I was confused. Code dot display turned out. Oh, okay, I get it. We are importing all of those components over here. Okay, please don't do this. We are importing all of those components over here, but we have not written export in any of those, so that's why it is giving an error. Okay, first of all, we export this, then we also have to export our app.js. So export default app. Okay, this should do the trick. Okay, daily inspiration, not quite at the center, but we'll fix this. Now, where were we? We were at our code generator, and let's say align center instead of text center. Okay, text center it is. Okay, then after this, after our heading, what we'll do is we'll create a paragraph tag inside the same div. Okay, we'll create a paragraph tag, and then inside that paragraph tag we'll have to give it first a class name. Class name equals okay, for class name we'll give this text lg, and then after that we'll, okay, my bad, once again I use a set of backticks. Okay, use a set of backticks and text lg, and after that we'll be using dark mode, question mark the ternary operator once again, and then okay, I'm sorry for the disturbance. For dark mode we'll use text gray, what is it, okay, 300, text gray 300. If dark mode is not enabled, we'll be using a darker text, so text neutral 600. Okay, and then after that we'll get outside of the p tag and we'll type out discover wisdom from great minds. Now we'll have to import our quote stats here, since we'll be showing the quote stats, so we'll have to import quote stats. Quote stats, and we'll use something called props inside this, so stats equals to we'll be sending the quote stats, and then dark mode value will be sending dark mode itself. So close this, and now let's start working on quote stats. Okay, for quote stats we'll be doing it simple, and let's do this. I think this live is going to go well over an hour, so I'll complete quote stats, we'll observe this, and then we'll call it a day, and do the rest in part 2. So okay, first of all we'll import React from React, and for our quote stats function we'll create a for quote stats function, and inside this we'll be creating 2 props, so stats and then dark mode. Okay, the props that we sent just now when calling this component in our code generator. So first of all we'll create a constant called label class. If it is dark mode, then our label class will have text gray, the same thing, text gray 400, and if not, it will have text neutral 500. And now we'll use return to return a component. So first of all we'll have div in class name, oh, I'm sorry, this should be div and then class name, which will have flex, and then justify content center, which is just short for justify, which is in short it's justify center in Tailwind, and then gap of 6, and then we'll use margin top of 4. Now inside our div we'll create first of all another div to hold our stats and total quotes. Okay, so first of all div class name equals, we'll just give this the text align center, so text center, and inside our div we'll create 2 other divs, so we'll give this a class name that is styling of text to XL, and then font bold, and then inside this we'll access the stats prop, so stats, so we'll first of all display the total quotes, so stats total, this will display our number of our total quotes, and then after that we'll create a class name to display the title as saying, you know, total quotes. So equals, for using a set of backticks, we'll use text and then sm, and then our label class, and inside that div we'll say total quotes, right? And then we'll get outside of this div. Now we'll create the same format for our viewed and favorites. Control C, Control V, Control V. Okay, this will have the same styling, same thing. This will change. This will contain favorites, and instead of total, this will have favorites as well. This will have viewed, and this will have viewed as well. Okay, after that, let's put in our semicolons and then export our component. So export default quote stats, right? Now after that, inside quote generator will uncomment the quote stats. So uncomment. I believe we have already imported quote stats, so let's see. Okay, I want you to know that all of this is from our quote stats component. So this has 3 divs and the individual styling, so you can see that here. So that is how React works, and that is how we'll complete the whole web page. But that was it for today. If you found the live helpful, please drop a like, comment out your problems or how you were doing during the live, and then I'll see you guys in the next part of this live. We'll continue with this statement and hopefully complete all of the components as well. So yes, stay tuned and keep coding. Bye bye.